Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. Today is a new day and a new topic. The topic of discussion that we will be talking about today is toxic love and healing. So let's get to it. I hope you all had a great day and I hope all is well. I wanted to be on here a little bit earlier, but due to my schedule, I wasn't able to. However, I'm here now and we're going to do this topic. All of these topics that I'm talking about, um, one way or the other, it leads into healing. Because in order to grow and to evolve, we have to heal these hurts, these pains. And one of the reasons I'm talking about this topic today is because it may resonate with someone. Because toxic love is a hard thing to get out of your life. Before I get into that, I hope everyone had a great day and all is well. Now, let me tell you a little bit for the newcomers about myself. I started this channel a little bit after going through all this toxic situations that I was going through, dealing with grief of losing people. And I didn't want to repeat any more of these lessons of toxicity, especially the toxic love. Um, Going round and round and about, roundabout, on a wheel that's going nowhere. Where it's spinning, but it's not going anywhere. And, breaking up, getting back together, in and out, round and about, and here we go again and again. And each time, excuse me, guys, each time that will spin, that situation that you go back to is worse than before. Each time you go back, in my case, I'm speaking from experience, it was worse than ever. So, guys, it's important that we don't keep repeating the cycle. And what I've learned about pain, grief, and toxicity is that I was repeating these things. And here's what I also learned: people, circumstances, and situations come into our life for a reason, a season, a lifetime, or a lesson. And in my case, these was unlearned lessons that I had to learn. And I wasn't learning them because I kept giving chance after chance. You break up, you get back together, you break up, you go back. And after a while, it can't keep going like that, folks. And there's no resolution to it because each time you're away from the person, you're hurting, you're in pain, you're in grief, and then you get back together, the same problem that broke you up 10 times before is still there. So you're just putting band-aids on a bomb, on a gunshot wound, on a shotgun wound, and it's not helping. It's just creating more pain and more grief before the final breakup. And that's what I was doing. And I don't know why, guys, but the old version of myself was attracting narcissists, individuals left and right. I'm not the same person as I used to be back then, but I've grown and I'm glad I did the work and I'm still doing the work to heal and to take care of myself because without that, guys, I don't think I could, do this. And, back in 2017 is when I ended a relationship that I really, with an ex who I really love and thought we were going to be married. Um, it was, let me fix myself up here. It was, it was tumultuous, relationship. I felt like a lot of times that I was walking on a tightrope because, it just wasn't the way a relationship really should. This ex of mine, just it was just a lot. It was just a lot of and then when the cheating started, and for me, I'm a Virgo, so people can tell me anything, but I need that proof. I need to see the proof for myself before I believe anything. And, I had heard some things, and I don't, let me tell you what I did. I looked through the phone because something in my head was saying, go, Lisa, go through that phone, get that phone, get that phone. And I don't do this because if I have to be with somebody and I got to check your phone, your email, I'm not doing that. Then I'm not going to be with the person. But this was important because the stuff I was hearing was, and then this is the not just what I was hearing, but how the person was acting, how this ex was acting, And so um, before the phone, how like you have a pen on your phone, and before it's like a few seconds or whatever before it locks. And I was able to get the phone, and what I saw blew my mind. People, it blew my mind. Like, not only the fact that this ex was cheating, but the people, because it was more than, oh God. Anyway, it was one of the people that they were cheating with. It blew my mind, like no tomorrow. And I'm like, this can't be happening. I kept looking, scrolling. It just blew my mind. And you know it was like, and I said, we need to do therapy. I really want to save the relationship because the person I am, I'm not, putting up with any form of cheating or any of that stuff. And I wanted to do therapy. And when I said, let's do the therapy, and it was agreed upon, I went and made the appointment, etc. And probably about 3 or 4 days before that, I get not even a telephone call, but a text message. I need to be alone, so I'm kind of like ending this because I need to be single. I need to be by myself. What? And I already knew what it was about so that you can carry on with this other stuff you had going on. And I said my piece in that message back and forth, what I felt, and that was it. That was it for me. And it took everything inside of me to um, get through that, because you see, I had came down from New York to Massachusetts, after dating this person for a while, and I really thought, even you know that this was it. you know I even, and I prepared, and had a job waiting when I came down, all of this. But what I realized, things, I didn't take the time that I needed to really get to know this ex, because if I would have did that and did my homework, we probably wouldn't have connected like this, because this is somebody who doesn't want to work, who wants you know, sort of to be taken care of. And I'm not doing that. The new version of me is not doing any of it. But the old version of me always had this, um, I don't know, like attitude people that if a person is broken or they got all this going on, I can help them. I can help them change for the better. I always had that, but no, it's not true. You can't help nobody change for the better, especially if they don't want to change. They have to want to change. It's like that saying, you can bring a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. um and I always thought I can fix people and stuff, and I had to really learn to get out of that way of thinking or whatever. And I didn't until I started to do the work to heal, you know and I was put through so much hell with this person because of one of the people that they were you know um being intimate with was living right there in the same complex where we were living, because I was living there temporarily until I found my own place. And and one day after that conversation about I need to be single, I was crying. It was just a mess. And one day I was driving my car and I took off the engagement ring and I threw it out the window. as I was driving on the highway. I just had it because I had been put through hell. And this is with the narcissistic individual who never hold themselves accountable for their actions. It's all on me. It's all my fault, because if I would have twisted myself inside and out like a pretzel the way they wanted me to, perhaps they wouldn't have cheated. Perhaps none of this would have happened. Delusion. Anybody who ever dealt with a narcissistic individual, you know what I'm talking about. And I used to attract them like flies, because the old version of myself was subservient to other folks, putting their needs before my own needs. Whatever they want, whether I didn't want to do it or whatever the case is, just so to keep the peace. And reality, I'm not keeping the peace. I'm pushing all of my needs to the back burner while I'm, taking care of everybody and everything around them. And when this situation happened and it was over for the last time, there was no back and forth anymore after that, because I'm not going to deal with that. And I have proof that this is what's happening. And then what happened is that 5 months went by or something like that. And this ex decides to call me. No, not call me. It's never a call, it's text messaging, about I miss you. Let's try this again. It's been 5 months. I know what's going down here. And I said, I saw your phone. I know, oh, what did you see? And I'm not going into that. I saw enough to know that we would never be together again, and I would never be with you, someone who's a liar and a cheater. And the reason why I'm talking about this today is because it's been since 2017, I believe, and I've moved on and healed myself, grown, evolved, did the work, still doing work on myself, but I like the new version of who I am today than what I was back then, how I was back then, because I was being a doormat to everybody, and just letting people run over me, do things, without thinking about my own needs. So after 5 months, and this person, this ex contacts me. And remember, I don't do names and details and things like that on here, but enough information to help somebody who might be going through this and, need to hear the message. Um, so when I got the call, I mean, the text message is like, I'm not getting back with you. This is done, and and I meant it when I said it. And so time has gone on, and I moved on, started to get better and heal from that, as well as other things. And, you know, one day I'm going to church, and his ex is behind me with some woman in a car. And I'm like, you know, from time to time, seeing the ex wherever I go certain places, go to church, go here, and it's like this person is behind me. What's going on? We're never getting back together. None of this is going on. And then I started to hear the malicious lies and gossip, because I don't want to be with this person. And one day this ex said to me, if I can't have you, nobody else will. What? If I can't have you, nobody else can. And the old version of myself, that kind of like made me, a little frightened. But the new version of who I am today, I'm not having any of that. Nobody's going to put a chokehold on my life and tell me what I can do, who I can have, who I can't have. That's over. That old Lisa is gone. The new me, I'm not having any of that. And I'm noticing that a lot of people from the past don't like the new me, but that's their problem, because I have gone through so much hell with these narcissistic, toxic individuals who refuse to change, that I don't give a damn. And when you just let go, and in the way I let go and just let God and just, keep on healing and doing things in an upright, I don't have time, because you know why, guys? My peace of mind is better than being broken down, busted, and disgusted. Because when I was in those toxic relationships, And where there's a dull moment and you don't hear from them, and I'm wondering what's going on, and texting, wonder what they doing now, this and that. I can't be bothered with stuff like that. The least I am today, I'm not doing any of that. I'm a type of person now that if we are starting to get to know each other and build up something, and then and it's a consistency, and then all of a sudden I don't hear from you for days and stuff like that. I'll at first probably think to see if everything's okay with that person. Maybe something happened or blah blah. And when I uh, realize it's not that, I'm done. I'm not running, chasing, skipping, hopping behind anyone anymore. A relationship is supposed to build us up, enhance our life, not bring hell to it. And I guess this ex thought that they had me wrapped around their finger, and they were going to go and play for a while, and then after they play and have their fun, I'll be sitting in a rocking chair somewhere, rocking back and forth waiting for them. It's not happening. It's not going down like that at all. And then the vicious lies, telling people lies, and the lies are getting back to me. I've never done these things, and I start to get like feel some kind of way. I've never done any of those things they're telling you. And then as I started to heal, see things from a different mindset. Narcissistic people will tell people that it's your fault and you did things, but these are things that they have done. And I'm saying these are things that my ex have done. I've never done any of this stuff. I've never, before I healed or even after I healed, I've never done any of these things. I don't know what this is about, but I'm not playing into it. One of the things you can do with a narcissistic, toxic individual is, especially if you had a relationship with them and the relationship is over and they still trying to poke the bear, so to speak, is give the medicine for that is your 100% total silence. Because I had gotten an email and I'm like, you got married, why is this ex sending me an email? So I will read it. A text, they don't have my number, but my email is still the same. And I look at that with emojis of blowing kisses and dumb stuff like that. And I read it and I deleted it. I don't care. And when you push a person, a good person who really love you, and who was really trying to make this work, and you do things, keep doing things, they eventually don't care anymore. And I've gotten to the point where I don't give a damn. I don't care what you're doing, how, what, where, or I just don't care. I love the new me. I love the inner peace after doing all the work to get myself away from toxicity and toxic relationships, and my therapist helped me a lot with this, guys. Set boundaries, and we talked about do a pro and con list, and when I did that pro and con list, the cons uh outweighed the pros, and it just made me realize, what am I doing? Why am I attracting these type of people? Why? Because I was being subservient. I was easy prey in the midst of them, of all these narcissistic individuals. And a narcissist will use you up and wring you out like an old rag, and then dispose of you and tell people it's your fault. They never take accountability for anything that they do, because anything they do, they feel they have a right to do it. They're entitled to it, and you're not, you know. And I had to learn to love myself. A long time ago, when I graduated from high school, one of my teachers, my English teacher, I never forget, he wrote, Lisa, never sell yourself short. And I didn't understand that, guys, back then, but I do today, because I didn't love myself enough to know my self worth. I was giving myself to narcissistic individuals who didn't appreciate me or who I was, my worth. I was easily discarded, and when they wanted to take me off the chef, duff off the shelf and dust me off and play with me again, that kind of stuff. I had to do the work, look in the mirror. Why am I allowing this? And go through the pain and the grief. And it all goes back to childhood wounds. And as I started to heal those things, I started to self love. And self love will teach you or give you a different mindset. You start to grow and know that you are worth it. And you don't have to put up with narcissistic, toxic love, because it's not real love anyway. When somebody truly love you, it's supposed to enhance your life. Yes, you're going to have problems. Yes, you probably have arguments from time to time, but toxicity, is just ongoing stuff that brings hell to your life. Fighting all the time. Who wants to go to work every day and then come in and argue and fight with somebody? All these things that these narcissistic individuals do, it stress and all these things create health issues, mental and physical health issues, you know and just for no reason, and just doing things. And a narcissistic individual will always make you feel like it's your fault, continuously lowering your self-esteem, telling you that if you I had, in one argument, I was told, well, if we wouldn't be arguing if you just do what I tell you. And I had to laugh. This is insanity. This is, this is too much. And I continue to try to force my foot in a shoe that was never going to fit. And people, when you're dealing with narcissistic individuals and they refuse to change, then you have to decide if you want to continue your life like that for the rest of your life. Because if they're not changing, it's only going to get worse. And in my situation with that, it got so bad, it was time to close the door. Personally, I think God just said, shut this door. This is too much. And I had to do the work, and it wasn't easy. It's a lot of pain. It's a lot of grief and hurt and going through. But as I got through it, I start to self-love, and I start to have a different mindset. And I can see a narcissistic individual a million miles away. I can sniff it out like a bloodhound, and I don't attract people like that anymore. Because what I've learned on this journey so far, guys, that people, circumstances, and situations will come into your life for a reason, a season, a lifetime, or a lesson. And in my case, these was unlearned lessons. Keep repeating them over and over, riding that Ferris wheel around and about we go. Where we stop, nobody knows, sort of thing, and keep going and going on this wheel and ride that leads to hell, leads nowhere. And then a person don't want to do the work that you're with, because they won't hold accountability for their actions, because everything that they did is your fault because you caused them to do it. And when nobody holds accountability, then there's no resolution to anything. And the resolution, and at the end, was to walk away. And it remind me, is growing up in my house, when things would happen, it's, you talk about it for a minute, but no resolution. What happens here stays in this house. But you know what? If there's trauma and pain that is not addressed and taken care of, it stays within you, because there's no outlet for the pain when you sit there and say what happens in this house stays in the house. Nobody is healing. They're walking around with trauma. You trauma bonded, and then you go from relationship and you bring all this stuff with you to these relationships. And then that person you with you're attracting narcissistic individuals, and they love people who have this kind of stuff, low self-esteem, not sure about who you are, because then they can come right in. They swoop right in, and they want to be your savior. But in reality, they helping to add more trauma to your life and pain. Because dealing with narcissistic people, they're not going to change for the better unless they want to. And I had to learn that too. You can't change nobody unless they want to change. you know, and toxic love, and I just kept attracting that. There's no healing in that, and there's no value of anything in that. And that last one really, really taught me a lesson because I wasn't learning these lessons. Once you learn the lessons and you walk away from the toxicity, the abuse, and people telling you you're nothing without me, you could go ahead. I was in situations where arguments would take place. Go ahead. Nobody's gonna put up with your shit. This just verbal abuse, and it affects your mental and physical health as well, because you getting up to go to work, and then you're coming home, you're arguing or on the phone arguing with someone over nothing. And as more time goes on and you continue to be in these patterns of behavior, it takes a wear and tear on your physical and mental health. And it was freeing to get away from that. At first, it was a lot of pain and heartache. But as I did the work and did therapy, and I had to do the therapy as well, and then prayer, asking God to help me, I was able to see my worth. And my self-worth, I don't deserve that. That wasn't for anybody's highest good. All that's going to do is lower my self-esteem, make me question who I am, and it just goes on into the toxicity. But when you get out of those toxic situations and you make a decision, I'm not dealing with this anymore, because they'll try to charm you and come back a million times if you open the door to them. And I decided I'm not doing this anymore. And what I had to learn, because I started to research more and more about narcissistic behavior and the patterns, and they love to gaslight, a lot of gaslighting and lying, telling people things, and some of them can lie so good that they believe their own lies and have other people believe in it. But one of the things you can do, when people come to you and approach you about lies that a narcissistic ex has said about you, one thing you can say to those individuals: look at the life of that individual who's spreading lies about you, and then look at the life of the person who they're spreading the lies, and see what direction. That will tell you what the truth is and what is not the truth, you know. And when you leave them, or they leave you, and then they want to come back and you say no, they get mad, and threats. Like, I had a threat of, if I can't have you, nobody else will. The least I am today, I would look at that person like, you must be out of your mind. You're not stopping my life. You're not doing anything, because I will be a Samson in your life. I promise you. And it won't be good. So your best bet is to move on. You know, one of the thing about dealing with these toxic relationships, when something doesn't work out, you know, sometimes things don't work out because people are not supposed to be in our life forever. A reason, a season, a lifetime, or a lesson. And some of these people, these are lessons, unlearned lessons. So we got to repeat them and keep repeating them over and over again until we learn. And once we learn, we can close that door forever and move forward to our new beginnings. Because on the other side, as we continue to heal ourselves from these things and grow and love ourselves, we're going to get the love we want on the other side with the new beginnings. You take baby steps, because abuse can stay with you a long time. But when you do the work to heal, you have the scars, people, and but you can move forward. You don't have to stay stuck and stagnated in those type of situations, and I stayed too long. One, I stayed for 10 years, and when I walked away, I was terrified, and because narcissistic people can get violent, saying, I'm going to burn down your house and, cut up your tires and do all this stuff. The least I am today, they won't like me because I'm like that Samson with the Philistines. I'm not having any of it because I have been abused so much and for far too long that the least I am today, I'm not putting up with an ounce of it. If it's not for my highest good, it's getting the hell up out of my life. I'm not having it. And believe me, if you got to be pushed out of my life, it will happen, because I peace is better than being broken down into pieces, and I know what that's like. And I'm sharing with those who are listening today. It may resonate because somebody might be going through this. I've been speaking to a lot of women who have gone through this, and they were talking about the difficulties of getting out of it, because narcissistic people won't leave you alone. But one of the ways I don't respond to stuff, and I was getting these phone calls from these weird numbers. Anybody I deal with, friendships, and businesses and things, they're in my speed dial. And if I see a number that's not in my speed dial and it looks unfamiliar, I'll let it go to voicemail. I don't care what I'm doing, I'm not answering it. And if they don't leave a voice message, then it's not a call to me, because I've had the situation where exes doing that, and then I would be answering the phone, and then it would be some toxic stuff, and I don't do that anymore. So one of the things I have learned on this journey is with toxic narcissistic ex, the thing you can do is give your 100% silence, because otherwise you open the door to that toxicity all over again. Oh, this happened to me, that happened. Okay, sorry to hear it. Because I had another situation where I dated someone for 7 months and they did something. And I start to learn the lesson. Like I said, another narcissistic situation. And when they wanted to leave, I didn't behave in the same way that I did in the past. That's how I knew I start to heal a little bit, because I let them go. Let them. If they want to leave, let them. But know this, I would say, you're not coming back. I don't care what you're offering, not offering. Once you hit the door, that's it. And I open the door, that's it. And 5 months later, here we go with a call. We can talk. No, we're not. This is it. This is done. There is no coming back ever, because you sealed the deal when you walked out my house. When somebody want to start an argument with you so that they can run someplace else, I'm not dumb, and that's what they took me for being naive. And there's nothing naive about me. I just always felt that I could help a person if I did, twist myself in and out. No, you can't. you know know what's for your highest good as you start to love yourself. And some of the things I do to heal is music. Know that I need time to myself on a daily basis to do the things that bring me peace and joy. And I'm sharing these things with you guys. What look at yourself and see what's important to you, and give yourself those things. Buy yourself that favorite perfume or whatever. Do things that's going to build up your spirit and your self-esteem instead of tearing it down, because it's been torn down so long being in these toxic relationships. And once you get free of them, now it's the time to build you up, to take care of your physical and mental health, which has been beaten down from all this abuse, physical or verbal. And now you have time to build you up. And once you build yourself up again and you get to the point of self-love, and you start to attract new things, leave the old behind you. Set boundaries. I started like what my therapist told me, set these boundaries, and then if they want to hop and skip over it, what I do, cut off, block, and delete. I have no room for the BS anymore. And a new person I'm not having any of it. I don't have to act out a character. I would do a checkmate, by, restraining orders and whatever else I need to do, because I'm going to stay at a place of peace instead of broken down into pieces, because the lessons have been learned. And people, when you learn these lessons, you don't have to repeat them. You don't have to ride that wheel again. What you can do, you learn the lesson, you move forward with yourself, and then new people and new situations and new beginnings, which is better. You attract good things come into your life. Good people who truly love you for you and who's not trying to twist you into what they want you to be, and not narcissistic. People who um, love, not just love you for you, but who going to treat you with respect. You know, if it's not for your highest good, then it shouldn't be in your life. Know what's for your highest good. And once I started to do the work, I start to have this peace. I don't have to deal with this, just because. And a narcissistic person will make you believe that, without them, you're not going to have shit. You're not going to, be able to do anything. But what were you doing before you got with the narcissist? And like I said, I've always had my job and had blah, blah, this and that. And after the narcissistic connections and they ended, now I built up so much, after that. And I know I would never go back to any of it. And when I get messages, well, I just ignore the stuff, and just delete them, read them and delete them and keep moving on. Um, but one of the things that I had a hard time with was just hearing lies of things that I would never do. And then I just said, you know what? And I had told my sister, I said, these are things that they are doing, but they're saying I'm doing. I would never do these things, and I just, what? Let me not even play into it anymore, have conversation, because I'm not giving my power to anyone. My peace is everything. And guys, once you get to a place of loving you, you start to self-care. And then as you self-care, you start to see the new results in your life. The peace, the inner peace. You don't have to go through all that toxicity anymore. You know? Um, the other thing, I have a few notes I wanted, you know, one of the things I wanted to cover too is that when you make up your mind and you're really, really done with this, a narcissist person will try to force you back by threats. And I don't take kindly to threats. The new version of myself, I'm not going to take kindly to that. And it's not a good idea to do it. Because they're looking for the old version of myself, and I'm not that person anymore. I've healed so much, and I'm still working on myself. Healing is always an ongoing thing, but you don't have to be in these situations if you don't want to be. Love is supposed to be the two of you complementing each other, the two of you wanting to be together and building something together. Not, you do what I tell you or this is going to happen, you know, and just setting boundaries. And I also, people had to learn how to say no, no, hell no, sometimes, hell no, you know, because I was over giving and overextending myself to people who didn't deserve it and people who didn't value who I was, you know? So this is something to think about. We're going to talk about all these things on this channel so that you can lift these burdens, because these are tons of bricks that some people like myself was carrying on my back, that all I had to do is throw them off my back and to keep moving. And also prayer. I stay in prayer because I love God so much. I love how God has changed my life for the better. And I'm not religious, and I don't sit in a church every week. I just love God and how my life transformed for the better. And people, you can do it one day at a time, one step at a time. Nothing ventured is nothing gained, but you can do the work. I also listen to music and videos that are positive and uplifting to keep me in a high, keep my mental level, my mental um, health, not just mental health, but my, you know, not so that I can fall back into depression and grief and things like that, So do things that keep your spirit going high, and just take time for yourself on a daily basis. Even if you can't take a few hours, but always do something for yourself. All these things I'm talking about helps your mental health, and just one day at a time, you know, and one step at a time. So, guys, that's the message today. Share these videos with people who you know who needs to hear these messages. Know that you don't have to be in something that you don't want to be in, especially if it's not building you up and it's tearing you down. That's the message today, guys. Thank you for being here. I will be back on Monday. I'm here Monday through Friday. Let's keep this going. We build up on this channel. We don't judge people, we build people up because we all have something. But learning lessons, once we learn them, know that you can close those doors forever and move forward. Move forward to your new beginnings because it's much better there. That's the message today, guys. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you back on Monday. Bye for now.